What's going on, winners? It's your boy Loso 2.0. And today we're going to talk about the limitations of your mind. Now, before we get started with all that stuff, let's do some housekeeping things. You can follow me on all my social media platforms, or follow me on all my social media platforms by going to carlosjhenrywinswithaz.com. You can also subscribe to my monthly newsletter to teach you how to effectively communicate and hold yourself accountable in order to achieve your goals in a quarter of the time. You can also purchase the starting guide to winning for beginner entrepreneurs with my book Winners Win. You can also schedule an interview in order to be interviewed on my podcast and drop some golden gems to my audience. And then you can also see how we can work together in order to squeeze as much money and referrals out of your own traffic. Well, by focusing on your own traffic. Um, but that's really all I had. So yeah, we're gonna talk about this right today, the human mind. Where would you say most failures happen from? If you say they're due to yourself, then you will be accurately telling the truth. The reason why you're failing at a lot of the things that you're trying to do all has to do with the fact of you. There's a common factor, it's you. I can tell you how many times, and this is not no relationship advice or anything like that, but I can't tell you how many times there are women always talking about, oh, this man couldn't do this for me, or this man couldn't do that for me. Just saying all of these things about what the man shouldn't or did not do for them, instead of actually looking at the common factor, right? They mess with all these different men, and then the common factor, you look back and it's you, but it's not working out, right? That's just not the third woman. It's also men, the same thing. You know what I mean? Woman jump woman to woman to woman and stuff, and wonder why they can't find a stable relationship. It's because of you. You're the common factor. So your limitations are set by yourself and what you truly believe in your mind. We talked about this before. Fear. Fear is just your mind, your imagination playing the worst case scenario before it even happens. Fear is strictly an imagination. Let's say you're scared to go skydiving, right? Why are you scared to go skydiving? Well, I can tell you, you're scared to go skydiving because you might fall out of the plane and your parachute doesn't open up and you die. And you fall to your death, right? That's because you're afraid to do that. That was your limitation. That was your fear setting back on you and telling you that this is a possibility that can happen. That's why people are afraid to take risks. It all comes back to fear. It all comes back to you. You are setting your own limitations for yourself. So literally stop putting limitations on yourself, right? I always encourage people for one to start asking the right questions, right? Start asking yourself the right questions that you want to ask yourself. The second thing I always encourage people to do is to actually go back and try things that you're scared of. Whatever you're afraid of doing, go try to do that thing. I was talking to a friend of mine, Margaret Lee, on one of the interviews, and she said whatever she was afraid of, she went and she conquered it and took it over. I want you to do the same thing. I don't want you to sit here thinking about what life could have or could not have been. I want you to go back and think about it and think of all the things you're afraid of and then go and try them. That is what we're doing, right? That's just your fear, right? The second thing is um, talking about the indecision, which also goes back to fear. This is the worst human ailment. The worst human ailment is indecision. You are scared to make decisions because you're afraid of it. And if you are going to be afraid to make decisions, you're going to become a drifter. Now, a drifter is just someone who is a dead fish in the water that goes with wherever the river flows. You're afraid to make mistakes. You're afraid to decide. Decisiveness is one of the key important factors of successful people. We make quick decisions, but it takes a long time to waver away from that decision because we stick with something for so long. This is what makes us successful. So you being afraid to do that, you putting that limitation on your mind comes back down to you being indecisive of it. So you're indecisive. For example, I've talked to people that have done the 2.0 challenge. I've talked to people before, right? How many people have went in there and said, "Hey, yo, I'm trying to do." I actually had a client on there before talk about some. I was going to do this. They were going to do some type of coaching, and then they ended up wanting to do like another talk show host, or they wanted to, do something else. And this is not to bash that client, but they were talking about how they wanted to do so many different things, but then it was the fact of getting started on the one thing and just sticking with it. They were indecisive. Indecision is going to lead to your downfall or your doom. Don't be indecisive anymore. Literally, just make your quick decision, make it an informative, quick decision, and then, or not even say it has to be quick, but make an informative decision. And after you make this decision, stick with it. But even then, I would say do it quick. Because remember, I told you guys before when Sylvester Stallone wrote Rocky, he said he wrote it in 3 days. 3 days he wrote it. It was terrible, but he went back through to edit it and he stuck with it. Make that decision fast. Um, yeah, they literally make that decision fast. Um, like I said, most failures are due to your lack of decisiveness and the limitation that you play on your mind, which all comes back down to fear. Now, I'm not telling you not to be afraid. You should be scared. You should be scared because you're scared of the unknown. You're scared of what possibly could be. But I'm telling you to not to also take that fear and then do something with it. Right? Take that fear and take it head on. So that's really I pretty much all I have for you guys today. Keep killing the day, y'all. Like I said, you can see all my stuff. Check it all out on Carlos J. Henry wins with a Z.com. Winners win, losers lose, and you pray for success like this. 2.0 out.